So I wanted to share with you a story that, maybe not a story, it's my experience. And one of the ways that the diversity team has helped me and made a difference, not for me, but for the students in my classroom. So there is a student who is now a senior at Greenville High School. And I was fortunate enough to have, actually I had her and her sister, but when she was in 7th grade, I was teaching 7th grade math. I was her math teacher. She came into class one day. I had her right after related arts, and she'd been in gym class, and she came in and she was crying, and she has these beautiful apple cheeks, and tears were literally cascading off of her face. And I said, honey, what's wrong? What's going on? My first thought is maybe someone has said something cruel to her. Maybe there was, a bullying issue that had maybe, finally come to a head or something. And she said, Miss Gass, that girl called me a name, and I said, what name? And in my head, I'm thinking of all the things that 7th grade girls can call each other. And I said, well, what did she say to you? And she said she called me black. And in that split second, my heart broke for her because she was crying, which I may do right now. She was crying because another student had called her black, and in her mind, that was a bad thing. That was a negative. And so because of the conversations that we had had in diversity team, because of some insights that my team members had shared with me, I was able to maybe handle it differently than I would have before. I don't know that my response was the best. I don't know that I necessarily made anything better for her, but I was able to have a conversation that I wouldn't have otherwise. So I looked at her and I said, well, sweetie, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but you are black. And she kind of stopped and looked at me, and it was this funny look of, you too? Like, really, Miss Gass, you too? And I said, and I don't know if you're aware, I said, but your skin is absolutely beautiful. I said, you're a beautiful person. I said, I'm kind of this, ruddy, like pinky pale color, and I don't really tan well, and I'm splotchy. And I said, and you've got this absolutely beautiful skin color. And she sort of stopped, and I said, being black is not bad. I said, who you are as a person. I said, that's what's important. I said, and your color has nothing to do with that. And she sort of paused, and I wiped the tears off of her cheeks, and, we kind of had a moment where we got ourselves back together, and I hope that what she took away from that was that we are not our skin color. But unfortunately, in our society right now, that's how we are often judged. And so the last thing that I wanted her to do was to walk into my classroom and feel like that somehow affected her abilities in my classroom, or affected her goals in life, or the dreams that she was able to have, or what she was able to achieve. So I've watched her sort of grow up from afar, and I think from what I've seen, she has excelled in high school. And I think she's still a happy, smiley girl, and that makes my heart warm. But previously to training with the diversity team, I probably would have sent her to the guidance office and just sort of washed my hands of it because I didn't know how to handle it. It's kind of that hot potato of, well, what if I say the wrong thing, and what if I make it worse? And so it was something that previously I would have said, you know what, why don't you go to talk to the guidance counselors about that? Because that's who takes care of that stuff, is the guidance counselors. But in that moment, because of what I had learned, I was able to not only make her hopefully feel better about herself and about the situation, but it was also a good opportunity for me to say to her indirectly, you're good enough for my classroom, and this is how I, as a white teacher, feel about you as a student of color. And hopefully she takes that lesson with her. So I thank you all for listening to me.